Oh, what's up, YouTube? How's it going? I'm back again for another random video. Anyways, let's talk about wrestling. I used to be a big, avid wrestling fan up until about 2005. Why did I stop watching wrestling? Not like any of you give a shit, but I will say this. Wrestling got super fucking dumb and gay. Back when all the cool wrestlers were still in, movie companies weren't looking at them so much. But you have to understand, wrestlers do fake fighting. Wow, that's like beep, 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 beep. That's huge for movie companies because, you know, when they're big muscular men want to fight people, they can act, right? It's acting. Wrestling is acting. Anybody does not know that wrestling is fake? Oh my God. Delete yourself from my channel. Just kidding. Subscribe 3 more times. Anyways, I watched wrestling back in, say, early 2001. I am extremely obsessed. Not so much anymore, but I really do like older wrestling. I've never missed a Raw episode. I missed one Raw episode because I had to help my friend rake the yard. Guess what episode I missed? So I watched wrestling for about 7 years, never missed one episode, our pay-per-view. I missed when Eric Bischoff was in charge of Raw. Damn, I wish I could watch that live. I watched it all on YouTube years later, or caught what I could from Sportnet, Sports Center, whatever, on the 32, 34 channel, whatever it was on, back in the old days. I haven't watched cable wrestling in forever. Now, I do like the fact, after not watching it for a very long time, John Cena's still in the picture. I remember when John Cena debuted on Heat, or SmackDown, whatever the fuck it was. Who cares? A lot of people didn't look at him like anything, and then he went like this thug life rapper. And it was cool, because he used to come out and rap, and he used to rip on everybody's most hated wrestler. It's nice to see that John Cena's taken over the company. In a way, it's sad to see that John Cena's #1. Because back then, there were so many famous celebrities in wrestling that John Cena was like a tiny ass little fucking sand pile. It is cool, obviously time prevails. It's cool to see John Cena as like the top dog now, and he's still with the company. But back then, he was nothing. Now, how wrestling is going downhill, you got Kurt Angle coming back. It's okay. It's nice to see all these old school wrestlers coming back, but Vince McMahon is always the guy that introduces new talent. Dudley Boyz and blah, blah, blah. Edge retired. Trish Stratus retired. You're seeing a lot of guys retiring and leaving, but, it's hard to find new talent that's good and that sticks with a company. It's a hit or miss with people. So you bring back the old talent and people are like, yeah, got to get those ratings up. And that's all that Vince cares about. Obviously, he's the owner of the company and you got to make money, right? I stopped watching wrestling because, like The Rock, everybody was getting introduced to movies. And they just said, peace. Stone Cold was like, I'm at the epitome of my career. Let's retire. Let's do movies. He sucked ass in movies. The Rock was very lucky to succeed. Which he still has an epic career in movies to this day. But at a time when I watched it, Stone Cold, Triple H, The Rock, all those guys, they were at the height of their career, and then it just faded away. And it's weird that I stopped watching it when I did, because right after that, the PG era kicked in, which I have no idea about, as I creep WWE.com and YouTube, which is cool that they do pay-per-view on demand, and they do, $10 a month gets you every pay-per-view. That is wicked. I wish they did that 10 years ago, because wrestling invented pay-per-view for the people that do not know that. And, they could have went somewhere huge with it at the time. And, but Vince probably at that time did not realize that that was the peak of his career. A lot of people may disagree with a lot of new wrestlers. are a lot of 10, 15-year-olds watching this video, but wrestling back in the early 2000s, I believe, was at its peak career. That's it. That was the best it was going to get. You know, Hell in a Cell was like illegal years later. Inferno matches, like, you guys probably like, what? You know, no blood in wrestling, even though they carried the knife, the little razor blade, and cut themselves. Stuff like that, just, you can't do on TV anymore. But everything's gone so political, so the little bit of realism they kept in wrestling, like smashing through the tables and bleed your face out with fucking razor blades, apparently are going away. So I'm glad I stopped watching it when I did. I still have all my wrestling figures, and you know, the Brock Lesnar's that bent and cracked. And Brock Lesnar pieced out to do UFC and MMA and football and blah blah blah. You know, he is not a good fighter. Why isn't he a good fighter? Well, the guy weighs like 285 pounds. He's like 6'6". He's a beast, but a lot of those guys are used to getting beat up all the time. He's not used to getting beat up, and he is not trained that way. He's trained to be a wrestler. He went from being a football player or whatever to being in the ring wrestling. So sports to sports. So you're not trained to do fucking bah, 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 and beat your face in all the time. And, you know, there's been some times where he's kicked ass, and there's been some times where he got his ass kicked. And once he started getting his ass kicked too much, he was like, yoink, I'm out of there. Why is that? Well, you know, it hurts your ego, right? You don't want to go back to wrestling, fake fighting, and then knowing you got your ass kicked by some fucking 6 foot or 5'10" guy who's like 190 pounds, you know? But you go in the ring and you fight the Big Show and just beat him up like nothing, right? So certain aspects of that stuff, realism, so... I'm nothing against wrestling, it's just, it certainly died out, and I stopped watching it when I did. It's funny because the most rarest pay-per-view I'm trying to find on eBay right now is WrestleMania 17, back in 2001. I have it on VHS, and getting it on DVD is like $100 online, which is ridiculous. But I think that was the pinnacle of wrestling right there. WrestleMania, up to WrestleMania 18, which was done in Toronto here, like an hour away. Pinnacle right there. Good old days of wrestling. Unfortunately, I think they gone to shit. And every time I check on their website, they have a new diva every time. You know, they can't even keep people. You know, it's cool to see Tori Wilson and all that, and Trish Stratus stay. But when they're electing people into the Hall of Fame, every time I check them every year, I'm like, what? They're not wrestling no more? It's like they seem to like fade off. They're just not around no more. They don't say goodbye. They don't, yo, peace. Or retire nicely. And then I see Shawn Michaels, Hulk Hogan's racist. He comes in, he comes out, you know. Vince is like, I'm getting old, or I'm losing money in the company, so let's see who can make who famous. And, oh, fuck, Chris Benoit, let's just delete him from our life, you know. Chris Benoit murdered and killed himself. You know, he murdered his family. But as a wrestler, Chris Benoit was a good wrestler. Erase him from the history of your wrestling company, that's political. You know, you don't want to look bad upon everybody else. Like, we don't want to look at a murderer. But I see what Vince had to do there with Hulk Hogan and them. But apparently he's going to come back. So for the 100th time, you know. Ric Flair retires for the 100th time, and Grandpa Ric Flair is back. So I can go on and on forever about wrestling. But I'm going to end it right there, guys. Why I stopped watching wrestling, it just got way too lame, and everyone's retiring, going to movies, retiring, come back, Mick Foley's come back, lost weight, oh my god, going forever. Anyways, that's it for that. Thanks so much, guys, for watching. Please like and subscribe for more random videos, as I do upload often. And I'll talk to you real soon. Bye for now.